Our last film we're going to be discussing this evening is the follow-up to 1994 Clerks, Clerks 2. The film takes place 10 years after the events of the first film.
Wait, 10?
Yeah.
Oh, 4?
Well, it was shot 12 years later, but it takes place 10 years after.
Slave.
Okay.
A boy.
Steven.
A boy.
My father.
My father's a boy.
The boyhood dream.
Okay.
So first off, hang on. Before we get into this, I would like to point out the...
that my feet are on the couch.
Yeah, well, there's that. But how Kevin Smith was inspired to be a filmmaker by Richard Linklater. And Richard Linklater has the Before trilogy.
Ironically, though, before you finish that, Kevin Smith's 5 favorite movies, none of them are Slacker. Continue.
That's fine, but I was making a point, so don't interrupt me.
Well, that's the point.
Whore! You whore! No. So he was influenced by Linklater, and Linklater has his Before trilogy, which are all take place 10 years apart from each other. And I think it's interesting how Clerks also takes place 10 years apart from each other.
Yes.
Because now Clerks 3 will be coming out.
Oh, wait, that's actually going to happen?
That's going to happen, and Clerks 2 was released in 2006. And 2016, and Clerks 1 was released in 1994, so about 12 years.
Right.
Another series of films that employs a similar narrative structure is the Dumb and Dumber series.
Oh,
we're going to talk about
Of
this.
course, as you know, Dumber and Dumber 2. 2! T.O. 2! Re-enters the characters' lives.
clearly a cinematic classic.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Let's just accept it for what it is.
Also, probably also Linklater influenced.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Steven.
So
what are you doing?
let's just go right off the bat. Starting at the beginning of this film, it opens with Dante heading into work at the Quick Stop, taking place 10 years later, like we said. In black and white. Opens the gate, and there's a fire there. And the fire's in color, and as we're looking at the fire, the shot also fades into color. So right there, I think that's an excellent way to start your sequel. Don't start it in you start it in black and white, but right away you fade into color. And I think that's a great way to just show that, okay, we're going from somewhere, we're
somewhere else.
We're taking it somewhere new.
Okay.
It's what you know, but it's something new.
Okay.
And the same thing in that after they go get a job at Movies, the fast food restaurant, so they're still clerks, but now they're at a restaurant rather than at a convenience store.
Right.
So I think that's a cool idea because you know how sequels also always suffer being too similar to the original?
Yeah.
I think this one was different, but the same.
Yeah, they're still, most of the set pieces are still around movies in the store.
Yeah.
Aside from maybe one or two scenes, I would say. I thought it lacked the freshness of the first film. I didn't in the first film. We didn't talk about this, but there was the Shining thing. I'm not gonna say it's because of the Shining. He did this where it says Dante. And
the wording. We forgot to mention that, but
right.
Yeah,
we didn't
weird.
speak about this, but that had an effect on it, I thought, and this one seemed a lot more. It wasn't terrible by any means. It just felt a little. I don't know. It was lacking in vitality. I thought the dialogue was still funny. It was still sharp.
Did you feel like the things that were good about the first movie were still present in this movie, but the things that were weaker in the first movie, like let's say the camera shots and sound editing and things like that, were improved in this one?
Yeah, it was bigger production for sure. And Harvey Weinstein got he's got the big
Jew
bucks.
dollars.
He's got the Jew dollars.
Yeah, we have to cut that.
No, we don't. Yeah, so I thought it was more or less the same stuff, but less fresh than the first movie.
So you felt it lacked the originality?
Yeah, it was a little.
Did you feel like it was trying to emulate the first one too much, or it was just its own thing, but it just didn't live up to
it
the
just
same?
didn't develop to what I thought it would be, and it was a little contrived with the marriage of Dante.
Well, I think that was them basically trying to do the same thing as the first one, where he
there's
has two girls to choose from,
right.
and he doesn't know what to do.
Right, but things that in Clerks 1 are a lot more ambiguous. In this one, it's more.
What do you mean by
colorful.
ambiguous?
Like you don't know what happens at the end. You know, just day in the life. Here, it's like, oh, my life's set on place. This one has a little more soul searching. But it's more or less. It's just a little. This movie's just a little more soul searching.
Yeah, but this one actually lands. This one lands on a conclusion.
Yeah, but sometimes that's not great for a film. You don't necessarily...
Well, could you say that this one is just a more polished movie than the other one?
Yeah, I think
it follows a bit of a more conventional structure.
You're absolutely right. This is more. I think that was very concise.
There's again, there's like more supporting characters, and they each kind of have their own little arcs
and cameos by one of the Sykes. Whatever. And Ben Affleck and Jason Lee all participate. And there was that guy, the Lord of the Rings thing. Who is that?
I don't know who he is.
You don't know who he is? I thought he was... Okay. Steven, no? You don't remember this? Okay. I thought it was someone.
I found, with the new supporting character, you have, what's his name? Elias.
Yeah.
I didn't really like him so much as a character. I found his scenes were generally weaker because he was a one-note character.
Yeah, he was a one-note character.
Like, it was basically, he's the Christian guy, so he's weird with everything he says.
Yeah.
Some people find the scene of Pillow Pants funny.
I thought that was a little...
I don't know about you, but I found it was stupid, and it hurts me every time I watch it because it just like drags for a couple minutes.
I do enjoy watching. I thought Jeff Anderson saved the scene, but with his facial reactions towards that.
And that's another thing. It's like these guys are coming back as actors, but they feel like more comfortable in their roles.
Mm-hmm. I thought, they're more experienced by then, obviously.
Well,
and Rosario Dawson is somebody.
Yeah, but Jeff Anderson hasn't really acted in other films since that. Brian O'Halloran, I don't know if he's been acting more since then, but I know that Jeff Anderson is not really an actor. He's just
I'm sure they've been acting. He's just a lot of things don't get released and something. Okay. You said Brian O'Halloran.
Brian O'Halloran had been doing things, but I don't think Jeff Anderson.
You're probably right about that.
But I felt when they came back to this, they felt very comfortable in the roles, and they just completely owned it. Like, it's just us at this point.
Yeah,
it was easy for them to get back into it.
Yeah, but like I said, I thought the whole movie worked out really, really nicely. But again, it just didn't keep me that interested.
No, you found your interest wavering more in this one.
Yeah, definitely. The jokes were still pretty funny, but Steven?
From what I can remember of the movies, which I saw a long time ago, I feel like I liked Clerks 2 a bit better just because it felt more polished and refined.
Yeah.
I don't think it's refined only in the sense of aesthetics, maybe.
Well... Yeah, I mean, again, more like what I was saying before, this one kind of had the benefit of feeling like it had more of a storyline throughout it, as opposed to just being a bunch of guys who hang around, at some dead-end job. This one kind of felt like, okay, at least the characters have arcs now.
Yeah.
And it does lose a bit of its kind of like raw indie feel as a consequence.
But a lot of people might be turned off by that. That's
But I think that it's important in the career of Kevin Smith that it doesn't feel as indie as the first one, because this one has more money and he's certainly advanced more as a filmmaker with his other movies. So this movie should feel bigger and more polished and better refined and less indie compared to the original Clerks.
Sure. I just thought, again, you could do all these things, but there's something lacking in this film I can't put my finger on it.
Because I don't know. I find the thing that really worked about these Clerks movies that some other comedies might lack is that it did have the heart in the movies, and that happens in both movies. Like, there is the emotional story that's being told that keeps you invested in it.
Yeah, there is that emotional story, and it is earnest. It's not something that was that's shallow or anything. It's pretty. It's well done in that sense, but it's just I can't put my finger on it. It doesn't keep my interest.
I felt like the themes in the movie, although they were kind of the same, did change because now we're 10 years later. So like in the first movie, you're dealing with themes of like, we're in our 20s, we don't know what to do with like the girls that we're with. We don't know if we should go back to school, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Whereas this one, it's like, what are we going to do with our future? Like,
it's more or less the same thing, though.
It's more or less
just a little more soul searching. They're 33. They're in their 30s now.
Yeah, so
not in their 20s. So they're looking. They're like, oh shit, life's getting serious now. But really, it isn't, because they're happy with what they do and they're in their comfort zone. So it's just a little more soul searching than the first one.
Well, that's why.
And a sign of maturity. So what Steven said about the character is sort of correct.
That's why I think Jason Lee's scene in the movie is like more powerful, because he comes in and points out that they're losers and they're still like failures. Yeah. Whatever. So that's why at the end of the film, when they buy the Quick Stop, you're happier for the characters.
Right.
They succeed.
Did anyone notice that last shot of the Quick Stop where everyone says it ends on a good note, but on that last note, they kind of look jaded when it starts to fade out.
I don't think they're jaded.
Well, you see if you look at their facial reaction, there's Randall looking at the newspaper and.
Because it's a day in the life job.
Yeah, it just seems like, okay, we're back here.
Yeah,
but
they're settling back into their comfort zone.
They're settling back.
I don't know. I guess that
it would have been weird if they just pulled away and they had giant smiles on their faces.
That's true.
Waving at the camera.
But I think, like, now that he's making Clerks 3, I'm really excited to see that.
I don't know anything.
Does that have a release date yet?
It doesn't. I think it's supposed to be 2016 or 2017. I don't know. He says he's going to start filming it.
Going to go toe to toe with Civil War.
Did you ask him about this?
No.
Why not?
I didn't have that much time to speak with him.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so even though I'm excited to see the Clerks 3 movie, I'm nervous because I feel the last shot of this movie was so perfect in that we're back in the convenience store. This time they're in charge of it, so it seems like their future is a bit more set. They're in control of something. You have them two behind the counter. You're pulling away, and as you're pulling away, the screen is fading to black. Mm-hmm. And then, as one last joke, you have the milkmaid there looking for the milk with no expiration date. Right. And as a side note, that's actually Kevin's mom. Oh. So it just feels like that scene is very powerful in that one shot.
Hey, put your parents in the movie. Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
That's how to make Martin Scorsese film.
What else? I liked also Jay and Silent Bob a lot more in this movie.
Yes, that's something that did it because they had more cameos and Jason Mewes had more time to do his stupidities.
Like I felt the first movie. It felt more raw when it came to like Jay and Silent Bob, but this one it just felt like they were brought in at the right time. They had the right jokes.
Okay.
Like they were just better utilized as characters.
Speaking of Jay, I still think that there's a possibility that Jay is gay.
Explain this to me.
Because he's he's alpha male. He's always talking about vagina, this. Then he's talking about you guys have to blow each other. He's fascinated by the interspecies erotica, bestiality. Sure. But
like the gays.
Like all gay people, they love a good donkey show.
He's excessively talking about pussy and stuff like that. So I think there's a possibility that he's gay. We never actually see him with a woman in any of the movies.
In Clerks 3 he's going to turn out to be gay?
Maybe
Dumbledore's gay.
We'll see, but I think there's a possibility that he is gay.
No, I just think
we don't like to congratulate gay people on the recent marriage equality ruling.
No, but Kevin Smith he actually at the Comic-Con show when he was doing the live Q&A, he said, "How did you come up with the idea of Jason Mewes?" And he just said Jason Mewes was already a character from he just took his personality from when Jason was 14 to 16 years old and translated that to film. So basically he would talk a big game, but you never really see him do anything.
Okay.
And whenever he would talk about pussy and this, but as soon as a girl walked by, he would be all shy. But then he's like, "Oh man, you see, I'll destroy that.
I'll hit anything, man.
Anything that moves." No, I think that's the character. He's just all talk, and I don't think he's gay. I just think he's a dumb character. Not saying gays are dumb. So
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Guys, we're never going to get sponsors at this rate.
Stamps.com.
Maybe Stamps.com hates gays. So was that. Oh, what did you think of the dance scene?
Of Jason Mewes?
No, the dance scene of the
the music
Jackson ABC.
Oh, that was. I guess that was a warm scene. My favorite scene. I didn't get to speak about this. You refresh my memory. I don't think much of that one. I thought it was pretty nice. I thought Rosario Dawson did a good job. I don't know if she was choreographed. It was choreographed, but
everything's choreographed.
Well, you never know. Maybe.
No, but I just mean I felt like the whole movie is set behind a convenience store, and then you have this big over-the-top dance sequence somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
it just felt completely different.
I had ambivalent feelings towards that too. I remember that, but there was some. I mean, the one on the rooftop was fine.
It's a fun scene, but I just don't know that it fits this movie.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but maybe they just could have kept Dante and
Rosario.
What's her character name? I forget.
Becky
on the roof, and that would have been enough for the scene. Yeah. But speaking of, there was another video montage that I really liked. because we all like the Smashing Pumpkins, but I just thought it was really moving when they played 1979, and it's him.
Also, fun fact: the girl that Dante waves to in the window is Kevin Smith's daughter.
Oh,
so just cast your family in the movie. Put your parents, put your kids.
Yeah, and that was also sweet. That went with the 1979, the whole stuff, and I thought that was a really good video montage of the characters.
Yeah, I thought that was good too. What would you say was like the biggest laugh scene for you in the movie?
The biggest laugh scene.
There's like
I don't want to say this, but the porch monkey scene. The porch monkey scene.
Yeah. It just felt like very sharp dialogue, but I almost feel
that and the Kelly bestiality. Kinky Kelly bestiality.
I almost feel like porch monkey isn't a very common swear.
No, it isn't.
Racial slur against black people.
It isn't.
So I almost feel like it's kind of missed against with certain audiences. Like if they don't already know the term,
it's not going to be,
and the joke may not land, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know that it's offensive."
I know.
But I do like how Randall is like rationalizing it and how Dante's like overreacting.
This is totally okay.
It's like my grandmother used to make fun of the Jews. So I think that scene was really good too. One thing that I very much hated about this scene, and I don't know if you guys remember this, it's when Dante and Randall go outside and they're talking about Dante getting Becky pregnant, and this camera is constantly spinning around them. Every time I watch
I thought that was actually pretty good. No, I thought that was pretty good
because it spins for too long.
But it's
a chaotic scene.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That sort of fits. That's to what the character's going through. So I thought that worked well.
It's a chaotic scene, and that's fine. But it is constantly spinning, and that scene lasts like a good minute or two. And you don't want your camera spinning in 360 degrees for that long. At one point, you could have held an over-the-shoulder shot.
I thought it worked well. I'm not going to disagree with that. But what I wanted to add with another scene I liked was the go-karting scene. After they realized, I thought that was a pretty good scene too. It worked well.
I felt it was really randomly inserted into the movie.
No, I thought
it wanted to take the place of the hockey scene from the first movie.
A little bit, yeah.
But more to more to like
it did. Thing. Yeah, it did feel like a soul-searching scene, but for no real point other than to get them out of the restaurant.
Yeah, well, after they got humiliated by
right, but it's just to get them out of the restaurant so they could talk. So they could talk.
Pickle fucker.
So they could like talk in the cars. Like I don't know. It just felt like
thanks, pickle fucker.
Will this be our new podcast slogan?
Yeah, but I think, again, going back to it, there's one other thing I'd like to mention is that in the original movie, Kevin Smith was originally going to play Randall. That's why Randall has like a lot of the jokes in the movie, right? But in this movie, he knew he was playing Silent Bob, so it almost feels like he gave Jay and Silent Bob a lot more to do because he knew, like, well, I want to be in the movie a lot more at this point.
Or maybe just because, or you could also say just because he felt like they were popular characters in the first Clerks movie.
Yeah, that too. I don't know. It could have been a selfish thing. It could have just been like a fan service thing.
Yeah,
could have gone either way.
And that's our thoughts on Clerks 2.